Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, friends, family, and random passers-by, for yet another episode of Temple of Terror, Fighting Fantasy Gamebook number 14. Um, this is the sixth time I'm trying this book now, and I have a few playthroughs ago. I established a save game point because I don't want to be doing the same beginning over and over and over again. So I'll just run you quickly through the what happens in the beginning, unless you want to watch one of the other videos. Um, so what happens is the story so far is that there is an evil sorcerer called Mulbordus who is working with the Dark Elves in a plot to overtake the world, so that evil will conquer good once and for all, and somebody has to stop it. His plan is to go to the lost city of Vatos in the Desert of Skulls, where he will find 5 dragon artifacts, which will allow him to summon 5 dragons to fight at his side, which would make the army of evil unstoppable. So, Yaztromo, he comes into huffing and puffing into Stonebridge. Of course, his tower is at the opposite end of the forest, so he's been walking quite a bit to get there. And because he's found out about this evil plan, and he is asking for a volunteer to stop Mulbordus, or rather to get to Vatos before Mulbordus and get the dragon artifacts before he gets them, and thus stop Mulbordus' evil plan. And of course, as a hero you are, you volunteer. Of course you do. So, you quickly you are taken back to Yaztromo's tower. He teaches you some spells. Just the 4 spells that he can teach you quickly, because you're not a magician, so you're not that good at it. And then he sends you off, and you have to make a choice between going overland or by sea. If you go overland, you find that you are behind Mulbordus, and Yaztromo sends an eagle to fly you down to Vatos. But the eagle is very quickly attacked by a pterodactyl, which is a much stronger fighter than the eagle is, and its chances of winning that battle are less than 50%. I've failed at that a few times. So, excuse me. The other option is to go by boat. You rent your way on a barge, and it takes you to Port Blacksand. And from Port Blacksand, you have to get onto a ship, and you can find a pirate ship. You can get some carriage on, but of course you have to work a little bit on it as well. So they actually draft you in to become a cannoneer as you leave, because one of their gunners died in a bar brawl the night before, and it's quite possible that you're the one who killed him, actually. The pirate ship is accosted by a man of war that sinks it. And if you swim to the man of war, it turns out that the crew are dwarves and quite friendly towards you once they realize that you know Gillibrand, and you actually are on a mission for the dwarves and for the rest of the world of good, to save them from evil. So they help you. They set you ashore down by the Desert of Skulls. You have to find your way through the desert, which isn't that hard because it's quite linear at that point to the book. And you get to a nomad who sells some items that may or may not be useful later, and you can buy some if you have any gold left after Port Blacksand, which of course, as you know, is quite a good place to lose your gold. And just after leaving the nomad, you bump into a sandworm, which is one of the most tedious battles ever, and it's a very strong opponent. He has a skill of 10 and a stamina of 20. And so that's where my save game is, after having defeated the sandworm, because I don't want to do that battle over and over again. It is quite boring. So let's get started. So, okay. So here we are. We got my supplies ready. I got my book, character sheet, maps, dice, pens, and pencil, and also a nice cup of tea. Still need a bit of bleaching this cup, but I'll get to that at some point. It's only tea stains, so it's not like it's dirty or anything like that. I mean, not dirty in the sense that it's bacteria and other nasty stuff. It's just stains. Right. My character, I'll just run through my stats now. So I've got a skill of 11, a stamina of, I think that's meant to be 21, actually. Luck of 11, provisions, I've got 7 left, and I've got 2 gold pieces left because I chose to do something slightly differently with the shopping this time. And I got the spells. I still haven't changed my spells. I still don't know whether these are the best ones or whether some other combination is better, so I'll keep them for now. I've got Detect Trap, Jump, Read Symbols, and Fire. And in the magic system of Temple of Terror, the spells use stamina when you use them. So I use 2 stamina for Detect Trap, 3 for Jump, 1 for Read Symbols, and 1 to 2 for Fire, depending on how strong a fire I make. The items I've picked up or stolen or taken from the dead bodies of somebody I fought until now are as follows. Brass telescope, 2 silver buttons. I've used 1 to pay for a can of water. A large pearl, can of water. A brass handbell, golden key, and a sandworm tooth from my battle with a sandworm. From the vendor, I also bought a crystal key, an onyx egg, and a bracelet, and a mermaid scale bracelet, rather. And that is where I'm starting. I just had to find the right place on my map now. This is... yes. So we are still on page 1 of my map, and I'm up here after the sandworm fight. So we'll just get started right there. You walk steadily on until the sun sinks below the western horizon. Under the cloudless sky, the desert quickly becomes very cold. If you are able to cast a fire spell, turn to 177. If you have not learnt this spell, turn to 395. So I'm going to cast a fire spell to keep myself warm for the night. You say the words of the fire spell. Let's see, I'll just need to reduce my stamina. And create a fire large enough to keep you warm through the night. Lose 1 stamina point. In the early morning light, you continue your desert trek. Turn to 72. Now, the reason the desert is very linear in this game, of course, is that Ian Livingstone didn't want to use too many paragraphs on the desert so that there could be more devoted to the dungeon crawl that follows, which is, I think, is sensible. So, there we are. The desert quickly heats up, and you are soon toiling under the white sun. Not far to the west, you see what looks like a cluster of trees with large birds circling above them. If you wish to walk over to the trees, turn to 142. If you prefer to keep walking south, turn to 39. Now, there was something there that was actually worth getting, wasn't there? So I'm going to... Well, hang on. I was checking now. What was that again? Yes, of course. Yes, there was something there worth getting. Excuse me. So I'm going to go down to the trees. As you get close, you see that the trees surround a pool of water. You have found an oasis. If you wish to drink the water, do not drink the water. It's poisonous. If you wish to continue south without drinking, turn to 207. Thank you very much. I'm going to go south without drinking. You suddenly stumble upon a large pile of rocks, partly hidden by the wind-blown sand. If you wish to inspect the rocks, turn to 375. I think I'm going to inspect them. I will get a snake bite, but I will get something that will save me a point of skill, which is very important. As you pull away the rock, a scorpion... No, not a snake, a scorpion, sorry. A scorpion runs out from the shadow of its dark crevice and stings you on the back of the hand. Lose 4 stamina points. If you're still alive, turn to 155. You crush the scorpion under your boots and carry on pulling away the rocks. In the middle of the rocks, you find a small white cotton sack, which is tied around a spherical object. If you wish to untie the sack, turn to 349. After untying the cord, you slowly pull open the cotton sack. Inside you find a glass ball, inside which a tiny man with pointed ears and wings, wearing a pea-green costume, is jumping up and down in a joyous frenzy. You cannot hear his voice through the glass, but you realize that the sprite wants to escape. You wish to release the sprite, turn to 234. I'm going to release him. You tap the glass ball on one of the rocks and watch it break open like an egg. The tiny sprite flies out, rejoicing at the top of his almost inaudible high-pitched voice. He thanks you over and over again for releasing him from the entrapment spell. He sprinkles some sparkling dust on your head and says it will bring you good fortune. Add 1 luck point. I would have got a luck back if I'd used one. He also advises you to make a headscarf out of the sack and cord to keep the sun off your head, as it is still a long way to Vatos. As you begin to tear open the sack, the sprite waves and flies away. With your head and neck protected, you stride off south. Turn to 39. Excuse me. Long before noon, you are desperately thirsty. If you possess a water canister, turn to 63. I do indeed have a water canister. You pour all the precious water into your mouth and gulp it down swiftly. Staring into the empty canister, you begin to regret your action. You have no choice but to carry on, but at least you feel refreshed. Okay, 116. The sun's relentless heat beats down on you, but there is nowhere on the desolate landscape to offer you shade. If you are wearing a headscarf, turn to 289. If you are bareheaded, turn to 275. So I'm wearing a headscarf, and I go to 289. Excuse me. Although the heat is insufferable, your headscarf protects you from the sunstroke, and you press resolutely on south. Turn to 164. Staring into the shimmering haze, you see a high stone wall less than half a kilometer away. Various stone towers and roofs inside the wall protrude above it. As you get closer, you see that wind-blown sand is drifted high against the wall and that no trail or track leads to the entrance gate, excuse me, which is partly blocked with sand. Vatos, a voice inside you shouts. If you wish to try to open the wooden side door next to the entrance gate, turn to 382. If you can and wish to cast a jump spell, turn to 54. Now, I think maybe for next time, I'm sure there still will be a next time, this is where I will want to restart my game. So this should be my new save game because, yeah, the last few bits of things, I'll just do the same thing over and over again. Now this is a point where it depends a little bit whether I would want to have a jump spell or not. Although I suppose the previous bit, if I choose not to have the fire spell, that is also something that I will have to consider. So, because if I do not have the fire spell, I will lose 3 stamina instead of 1. So I suppose it's not that bad. You lose 2 extra stamina. 164. So I think this should be my save game point here. I'll just put a green asterisk there. And then I'll just put green line there. And this green. Actually, I should just eat something first, perhaps. I'll just see if there's anywhere I get stamina back now. Before I have any fights. Not really. So I'm going to top up my stamina as well. So I'm going to eat 1 ration. So I have 6 rations. I've got 20 stamina. So my save game point is as follows. Skill 11, stamina 20, luck 11, provisions 6, gold. Of course, I will depend on what I do with the shopping, so I'm not going to do that one because these ones will be flexible. Okay, so these are the stats, and this is my save game point. So next time, that's where I will start. Oh, I forgot. I've also got a cup of tea. No, I didn't forget. I didn't mention the tea. Yeah. Which right now I actually forgot I had a cup of tea. I'm so engrossed in this book. It is quite nice, this book, because I've noticed when I'm playing it, especially when I get into the dungeon, that I get that sort of sense of being there more than with many of the other books. It feels more sort of engrossing and engaging. I don't know what it is about it, but it does have that strange thing, that je ne sais quoi X Factor thing about it. I still don't know what that is, but it's nice anyway. You can sort of feel yourself escaping into a different world, which is part of the fun of these books. Right, so I'm going to use the jump spell again, even though that's very expensive. Maybe it is actually cheaper for me to... No, it's a bit risky, because if I don't use a jump spell, there is a this creature here is there at the door, and of course he is quite a good fighter, so I am more likely to lose more than 3 stamina by not using a jump spell. So I'm going to use a jump spell, and go to 54. So my stamina is then down to 17. And I guess I could use another provision then, so I'm down to 5 and 21, so I'll just do that right away. You say the words of the spell and leap with ease over the wall. You land gently in the middle of a deserted square. Turn to 111. This is where we turn the page. Okay. So there will be some places I haven't explored before, and I may go down them just to see what there is at some point, so we'll see. Looking around, you see no sign of life. On the opposite side of the square, there is a large stone archway. It seems as good a place as any to start your search for the dragon artifacts. You walk through the arch to a stone stairway which descends to a torchlit corridor below. As you walk warily down the stone steps, you wonder where Mulbordus might be. At the bottom of the steps, you see an iron casket. If you wish to open the casket, turn to 287. I do want to open it. You prise open the chest and find a polished iron helmet inside. If you wish to place the helmet on your head, turn to 97. I do. The helmet has been made by a skillful ironsmith. It will afford you greater protection. Add 1 skill point. So this is where I add a skill point. For the purposes of battle, it is now 12. I'll just put that in brackets. For other things like jumping and climbing and things, it would still be 11. Intent on finding the first dragon artifact, you walk south along the corridor. Turn to 140. As you walk down the corridor, you suddenly feel a light tap on your shoulder. You spin around and see a horrifying creature with ragged clothes on its thin body. Its hollow eyes and mouth are filled with thick slime, which makes its voice gurgle as it whispers the word death in your ear. The messenger of death then disappears, but somehow you know what has happened. The messenger of death is a sadistic killer who plays games with its victims. Staying ahead of you, it will place each letter of the word death in various locations. Should you come across and read all the letters of the word, the messenger of death will reappear to revel in the sight of your life draining away. Mulbordus' assassin has given your search for artifacts an unwanted twist. Turn to 330. I quite like the originality of that. The corridor ends at a T-junction. Patterned drapes hang down from ceiling to floor on the far wall. Will you pull back the drapes? Turn left along the corridor, turn right along the corridor. Now, I'm not sure if turning right or left now is going to lead me anywhere interesting or something that I can get back from, but I know that in the middle there is a dragon artifact, so I will go to that again. So I'm going to pull back the drapes. You boldly throw back the drapes, half expecting a sign of death to be revealed, but there is merely a plain iron door. Which, when you turn the handle, turns out to be unlocked. Will you open the door, turn left, or turn right? I'm going to open the door. You enter a dust-filled room, which has dried blood smeared all over its walls. There is a bucket hanging down from the ceiling on a rope just above your head. In the wall opposite you there is another door, and in the wall to the left there is a low arch from which you can hear the sound of scratching. A huge black arthropod's head, well, it's not an insect, is it, suddenly appears out of the dark hole, followed by a long and many-legged body. The giant centipede rushes from its lair to bite you. Giant centipede, not an insect, as we established last time. Right, so maybe I should do my battles on a separate sheet of paper so I can use the character sheet more easily again for my next playthrough if I use something like this. Okay, so at the moment I am 11:21, so 11:21. The centipede is 9:7, so I've got a 2 skill point advantage. Quite a hard battle, this one, if you don't have a high enough skill. Oh my god, I'm 12, of course, 12:21 because of my my helmet. So I've got a 3 skill point advantage. He rolls 6, I roll a 4, so that is he down to 5, 7 and 11. He's down to 3, 4 and 6, so he's down to 1, and finally perhaps he rolls a 6 and I roll a 6 and he is dead. There we are. He won't bug me again. Right. At least not until next time I'll play. So I win and I go to 393, and there we have it. If you wish to cut down the bucket from the ceiling, I will actually want to cut that down. The bucket clatters to the stone floor when the rope is cut, spilling its contents, old bones, all around the room. Gathering them all together, you discover that one of them has been carved into the shape of a dragon. This is one of the artifacts you have been seeking. So, we got dragons, and we got bone. I'm sure the other ones are different kinds of materials. You put the carved bone in your pocket and walk over to the door in the far wall. Now, this is where you should get a lock point, I think, for finding a dragon. Turn to 21. The door opens into a corridor at a T-junction. One passageway runs to the left and right of the door, and another begins immediately in front of you. You see nothing of interest either to your left or right, and you decide to walk directly ahead, which indicates to me that the left and right paths that you had earlier are then joining this up here, and you can't go back, of course, which is common for these game books. Turn to 46. After walking for some 50 meters, your progress is halted by a deep pit which spans the width of the corridor. If you can and wish to cast a jump spell, turn to 215. I'm going to do that. I think you die if you don't make it. So I'm going to use another 3 stamina points. You utter the words of the spell and leap over the pit with ease. Landing gently on the far side, you set off along the corridor. Turn to 152. Okay, 152. In the gloom of the torchlit corridor, you see a horrible creature hovering in the air and blocking your path. It is round with a large eye in the center of its dark green scaly skin. This is what's supposed to remind you of a beholder, and also trick you into believing you can defeat it with a mirror, of course. The eye stinger floats towards you, trying to mesmerize you with its hypnotic gaze and sting you with its spines. If you wish to fight the killer with your sword, turn to 236. If you would rather look through your backpack for something to use, turn to 387. So I'm going to look through my backpack. Looking for a likely object with which to defeat the eye stinger, you must make a quick decision. Will you take a mirror, a pearl, an onyx egg, or none of these? I have tried the onyx egg before, and that seemed to work really well. So, as soon as you reveal the onyx egg, the eye stinger becomes motionless and closes its central eye. You seize your opportunity and run past the eye stinger, holding up the onyx egg to protect you. Turn to 340. How about that? Running along the corridor, you see an iron grill high up in the right-hand wall. If you wish to prise it open with your sword, turn to 295. If you would rather walk on, turn to 157. This is where I'm definitely just walking on, because that gives me -4 stamina and -1 luck, and it's one of the letters of death as well. That is behind the grill. So I'm going to go past that. The corridor soon ends at a T-junction. If you wish to go left, turn to 175. If you'd rather go right, turn to 353. Now, what was I thinking of now? Because there was somewhere where you... that's the wrong one. You also get... see if I can find that. Oh, there is a shield +1. Because there's a place where you can get a shield as well that gives you more skill. And I'm not sure if you can get to that by turning left. Maybe that is only by turning right. So I'm going to turn right there. You follow the corridor until it turns sharply left. On turning the corner, you see that the floor is covered with broken glass. As you pick your way through the glass, a shadowy figure suddenly appears in the corridor ahead. You hear a shriek of laughter as a bottle is hurled at you. It shatters on the stone floor at your feet to reveal a piece of rolled-up parchment lying among the broken glass. If you wish to read what is on the parchment, bad idea, it's a curse. If you would rather chase after whoever threw the bottle, turn to 77. So I'm going to go to 77. By the time you are clear of the broken glass, there is nobody in sight. The corridor stretches on, passing a stone archway on the left. Okay, so maybe going left there is going to lead me back into the corridor there. That is interesting. Maybe I'll just do a different thing now and just use my finger bookmark and just backtrack and see what, because this right corridor thing doesn't give me anything. Maybe I'll just have a look on the left one there to see if that indeed does bring me back to the same place now. You follow the corridor until it turns sharply to the right. On turning the corner, you see a tall reptilian creature wearing armor and holding a curved sword. The lizard man appears to be guarding some sacks that are piled up against the wall. If you can and wish to cast a creature sleep spell, turn to 232. And if you would rather fight the creature with your sword, turn to 7. So we have 232 creature sleep or 7 fight. I'll have no choice. I don't have a creature sleep, so I'm going to fight. On seeing you, the lizard man hisses loudly and advances towards you with his sword held high. Right. So, okay. So I am at 12, 18. The lizard man has 9, 8. So I've got a 3 skill point advantage. He rolls 8, I roll 6, so that is me hitting him for 2 hit points. He rolls 8, I roll 6 again. He rolls 8 again, I roll 6 again. Yeah. Let's see if I can roll something else than 8 and 6. 2 and 3. And he's dead. Okay. If you win, turn to 33. Okay, so 33. 2, 3. You tip open the sacks, but they contain merely spices and grain. A quick search through the lizard man's clothes produces a large iron key. Now, I think I've seen a reference to a large iron key, so that is something that may come in handy later. So large. There was a door. You couldn't go through any other way. Well, you could have an open door spell, I guess. So large iron key. Which you slip into your shirt pocket. Shirt pocket, okay. You move on and arrive at another T-junction. I would put it in my backpack normally, but yeah, okay. If you wish to go left, turn to 125. If you wish to turn right, turn to... Okay, so I'll just put that up here. 125 left, 262 right. I'm going to turn right, I think. The corridor eventually opens into a dingy room in which two ratmen are busily chewing on the carcass of a goblin. I see, I forgot to put on the stats of the 9-8. Let's see, 9-8. The lizard man on my map there. The two ratmen are busily chewing on the carcass of a goblin. On seeing you, they spring to their feet and attack you with their swords. So they are quite easy to... It doesn't say one at a time, but that is what I will presume it's the case. So 5, 4, and 5, 5. Okay, so where are we? Yes, piece of paper. So it's a 5, 4, and a 5. 5 with a 7 skill point advantage. So I've got he rolls 8, 6, 8, 3. Okay, so that's the first one dead. Second one, 4, 12, 10, 6, and 6, 8, and they are both dead. I need to write that down. It's too straightforward. Okay. Excuse me. I need to drink some more tea, it seems. 218. That's it. In the pocket of one of the ratmen, you find 3 gold pieces and a monkey's tail. In the far wall, you see 2 arches and corridors running from them. If you walk through the left arch, turn to 315. If you walk through the right arch, turn to 139. Okay, so we have no space on my map now for anything. Maybe I'll just move this all over here somewhere. So we have 315 left, or 139 right. So I'm going to go through the right arch, 139. If you're able to cast a detect trap spell, turn to 197. Okay, so that is interesting. So that's 197. Or if you do not know this spell, go to 179. So detect trap or not. So I'm going to detect traps. And then we go down 2 stamina to 16. An inner voice tells you to say the words of the spell. Suddenly you see that the arch does not exist at all. It is merely an illusion, hiding a pit in front of the wall. You detect that the other arch is genuine and you walk through it. Turn to 315. Okay, that is interesting. So, just put a red. Okay, -2 stamina there. So 315. Nice twist. You soon arrive at a T-junction. Looking right, you see that the floor is covered with broken glass. So this is where you get back to the other place. And so you turn left into the new corridor. Turn to 49. So, okay. 49 is still not on the map, interestingly. Okay. The corridor ends at a T-junction. If you wish to go left, turn to 250. If you wish to go right, turn to 333. Okay, so this is where we are back to this place here. And I want to go right, which is 333. As you walk along the corridor, you suddenly become aware of the sound of footsteps marching towards you. If you wish to see who is coming down the corridor, turn to 274. Well, I can do that. I think that was all right, wasn't it? Two figures come into sight. A chill runs down your spine. With armor hanging loosely on their yellow bones, two skeleton warriors walk jerkily towards you, armed with swords. And both attack at once. So that is, let's see. So I've got now, yeah, let's just cross those out. So we've got a 7-5 and a 6-6. I'm going to attack the 7-5 first. And I've got 12, 16. I need to eat something soon. Right, so the first one I got a 5 skill point advantage. So he rolls 5, I roll 7. Okay, so he's down to 3. The second one, I've got a 6 point advantage. He rolls a 5, I roll a 9. So I defend myself successfully against his attack. Second one, he rolls 4, I roll, sorry, first one, and he's got 1 left. Second one, yeah, defending myself again. First one rolls a 12. I roll a 9, so that's him dead anyway. Second one, 7 and 10. Now I'm attacking the second one. He rolls 7, I roll 6. He's down to 4. 6 and 7. He's down to 2 hit points. And finally, he rolls a 6, and I roll a 7, and he is also dead than he was before. He is more dead. He is more undead. No, it's not more undead. It's less undead and more dead. I think that's the thing. Okay, so and I win, and I go to 310. Okay. You take a shield from one of the broken skeletons and sling it over your arm. Add 1 skill point. So this is where I get up to 13 combat skill. The corridor finally ends at a wooden door, which is firmly locked. If you can and wish to cast an open door spell, turn to 114. If you have an iron key, which I do have now, turn to 276. I'm going to check out this door now. You place the key inside. There might be a trap. Inside the lock and turn it to the right. The lock clicks open and you are able to push the door inwards. Turn to 88. The door opens into a room which is bare except for 2 stone caskets lying open on the floor. It is unnaturally cold in the room and the light is very dim. In the corner you find a clay goblet with a heart etched inside the rim. Okay, so goblet. You put the goblet inside your backpack. So there's an item there that I don't know if I'm going to need. So goblet with heart. Okay, that is interesting. And as there is no other exit, you walk back down the corridor and past the last junction. So that is probably an important item, I would presume, because it's such a tricky thing to actually get access to the room. So 250, there we are. You pass a doorway in the left-hand wall which has an ornately carved surrounding of hideous creatures being consumed by flames. If you wish to open the door, turn to 128. If you would rather keep on walking, turn to 344. Now, if I go into there, and then there is a tunnel, and then it's dark, and then there's a trap, and then you lose skill. So that seems to be something that is not needed to do, because I can't imagine that that is the right path, because you actually lose skill and stamina going in there. So I'm going to go the other path, which I haven't been yet, 344. The corridor turns right, and around the corner you see a man lying face down on the stone floor. He is wearing blood-stained armor, and his sword lies a meter away. He grunts on hearing your footsteps and tries to reach for his sword. Will you run him through with your sword, kick his sword away and try to talk to him, step over him and walk on? Right. Interesting choices all. So I'm going to put the options up here now. Let's do that from the top there, like so. So we have 101 kill, 306 kick, or 80 step. I'm going to try to kick his sword away just so he doesn't get any funny ideas, and then I'm going to talk to him. So 306. You roll the dying man over and see that he has not long to live. Being a valiant warrior, he wanted to keep fighting to the end. You ask him why he is here, for he clearly looks like an outsider. In an almost inaudible whisper, he replies, "The golden skeleton. It's here somewhere. Beware the shadow of the stone." Then he falls silent and still. You place his sword in his hand as he would have wanted and continue along the corridor. It soon turns right again, and you reach an iron door in the right-hand wall. In the distance you can see glowing lights dancing about in the gloom of the corridor. If you wish to open the iron door, turn to 153. If you wish to investigate the moving lights, turn to 339. Yes, now this looks familiar because let's just put that as hint on that one. 339 is actually right up there. But there is no 153 on my map here, which is interesting. So that means if you go the other way, you don't actually get to see door 153. I'm going to then check out 153. I'll put that there. So 153 door. The door opens into a room lit by torches. Yeah, so many torches everywhere. I wonder who keeps lighting them and replacing them all the time. Set in the wall. If you wish to walk across the dusty floor to an archway in the wall opposite, turn to 261. If you would rather continue along the corridor towards the glowing lights, turn to 339. Okay, so you're given a chance to change your mind. It's always interesting. 261. Let's have a look. Let's perhaps put a finger in the book and save the game just to be sure. If this is too preposterous, what happens now? Oh, yeah. As you step through the dust, your mind suddenly fills with horrific images. Oh, this is the same place I was last time. Okay. No, do not go there. Okay. -3 skill. Okay. I'll just read the thing. You scream in terror as you think you see the whole room become engulfed in flames. Your flesh appears to be burning and death seems imminent. Your nightmare drags on for several minutes and you fall unconscious under the strain. When you finally come to, you still feel terrified and your hands are trembling. Some of your courage is lost forever. Lose 3 skill points. Not daring to venture any further in the room, you exit by the iron door. Back in the corridor, you stagger towards the dancing lights. And I think I'll just, I put the finger there, didn't I? So I'm not going to let that happen. So I'm going to pretend that didn't happen this time. Yeah, I know it's cheating, but this is how I play the game sometimes. Because I don't want to lose the game now because I did that. Because I'm just end up doing the same things over and over again, which isn't fun. So I'm going to go to 339 now. So let's do this. Red, red, red. And 339. So this is, I can establish now that this is the right path here. So like so. And probably like so as well. So yeah. Okay, so 339 is an unavoidable fight, actually. 339. So there are lots of unavoidable fights here, but this one isn't that hard anyway. So, right, so what do we have? As you move closer to the glowing lights, you realize that they are starting to move towards you. 3 giant bugs with wings buzz loudly and close in to attack. Fight the giant fireflies one at a time. So we have a 5, 4, 5, 5, and a 4, 6. I have 13, 16 now. I need to eat something soon. So I've got an 8 skill. No, sorry. Yes, 8 skill point advantage to the first ones. So he rolls 11, 8, 7, 3, dead. 11, 5, 2, 4, 4, 8, dead. And a 9 skill point advantage to the next one. Rolls a 7, 7, 8, 6, 10, and 9. He is also dead. I'm not going to bother writing down the details when the odds are so much in my favor. It's easy to keep track without. Okay, so I go to 38. You carry on down the corridor, which finally leads into a large chamber lit by torches again, and mounted on high walls. At the top, the walls slope inwards to form a magnificent golden ceiling. A massive bronze idol stands in the middle of the chamber with its warhammer raised. You will have to walk past the idol in order to reach the entrance of a tunnel in the far wall. If you walk to the left of the idol, turn to 291. If you walk to the right, turn to 381. Well, going to the right is works well, so I'm going to keep doing that. But because I know I'm always going to do that, I'm going to have a look and see what happens if you go to the left. Yes, it comes alive, which is as expected, really. So, yes. So, 381. You walk under the raised warhammer of the idol towards the tunnel entrance. So yeah, 74. You step into the tunnel and notice that the floor starts to slope downwards. It finally leads down to the edge of a flooded room. Water flows into the room through the mouth of a lion's head set in the wall. There is a ledge on the far wall which rises above the water, and the tunnel continues beyond it. You shrug your shoulders and wade into the murky water. You are waist deep in the flooded room when a long tentacle breaks the surface. The water is stirred up as the monster thrashes around, sensing that food is nearby. Suddenly, another tentacle wraps itself around your leg and tries to drag you underwater. You draw your sword and begin hacking blindly at your attacker. If you're wearing a bracelet of mermaid scales, turn to 396. I'm wearing such an item, so I will go to 396. As you stab into the water, your bracelet is briefly submerged. The tentacled monster is immediately repelled by it and swims silently away to the deepest part of its pool. You seize your chance, climb up onto the ledge, and escape down the tunnel. Turn to 91. So I still don't know if that is going to be an essential item or not. So yeah. Right, so 91, and this is where we move to the next page again. Okay, so another tunnel branches off the one you are walking down to give you a choice of directions. If you wish to continue straight on, turn to 347. If you would rather turn left along the new branch, turn to 59. Now, was there anything here that seemed... Well, over here there's some good stuff, but I'm going to try continuing straight on here. The tunnel eventually comes to a dead end. A solitary candle burns in an alcove when you see something glistening behind it. If you wish to reach into the alcove, turn to 212. Now this could be one of Death's letters, I guess. If we would rather go back, go to 59. So I'm going to have to check it out, don't I? So I'm going to go 212. You find a small silver box inside the alcove which has a dragon motif etched into the lid. Something inside rattles when you shake the box. If you wish to open the box, turn to 29. Open. If you would rather replace the box in the alcove, walk back down the tunnel and turn right into it. Now this is really teasing with us, isn't he? I'm sure this is either a trap or it actually is a dragon. It could be a double bluff. Could be a serious double bluff. You lift the lid slowly, wondering what you might find inside. Much to your surprise and delight, you see a small ornament made of silver, a dragon artifact. So, I quite like that because you really sort of get that sort of sense of, oh, is this a trap? Is this a trap? Yeah, no, that was a dragon. So now we've got the silver dragon as well. Silver. Okay, so, and this is the silver dragon. Okay. Right. You put the silver dragon in your pocket and walk back down the tunnel to turn right into the new branch. Turn to 59. So we are going down there. Okay. Lovely. 2 dragons down, 3 to go, actually. Ahead in the corridor, you see a cloaked figure carrying a lantern and walking away from you. You call out, but the figure only walks away faster. You hurry after it and are almost alongside it when it spins around to reveal its hideous face. Taut yellow skin is stretched over its skull. Its eyes are blood red and sunk deep in their sockets. Surviving the stare of a phantom requires great courage. Roll 2 dice. So, skill test. And my skill is 11. And I succeed, luckily. I wonder what happens if you fail. Okay, not that bad. Okay. 280 is a success. There we are. Despite the phantom's powerful stare, you keep control of your mind. With its arms outstretched, the phantom closes in to touch you in order to intensify its power. If you wish to fight the phantom with your sword, turn to 225. Surely that can't work at all. If you would rather rummage quickly through your backpack for an item to use against it, turn to 244. Let's see what items. So, hoping to find something that might be effective against the phantom, you thrust your hand into your backpack. What will you throw at the phantom? A pearl, a silver button, or an ivory beetle charm? I know that the beetle charm doesn't work, so the pearl next. Try the pearl. Nope, nope. The phantom snatches the pearl out of the air. Okay, so that is also the wrong answer. Oh, hang on, was there a none? None of these. Oh, there was a none of these. Because I was hoping, actually, I was planning to do that because I didn't think any of those things would work. I just wanted to get away from it. Can I get away from it just going doing none of these? And then you have to fight it with your sword. Oh, okay, so that means silver button must be the only thing that works then. Presumably. Okay, so pearl doesn't work either. Minus full stamina. Right, so let's find my right place here. 185. Yeah, so the phantom snatches the pearl out of the air, laughing at your pathetic attempt to slay it. The phantom grabs your arm with its free hand, and you are instantly paralyzed. Lose 4 stamina points. By the time the feeling has returned to your limbs, the phantom is well out of sight. Walking stiffly along the tunnel, you continue your search. Turn to 190. This is soon where I will get some stamina back as well, which is good. The tunnel finally ends at a T-junction. The cross passage shows signs of more frequent use. The walls are decorated with murals and tapestries, and there are torches at regular intervals to give plenty of light. So if you wish to turn left towards the murals, turn to 161, but I want to turn right towards the tapestries first and go to 40. The tapestries are large and colourful, depicting various gods and deities, some of whom are in human form, some in animal form, and a few are part human and part animal. If you wish to pull one of the tapestries from the wall and put it in your backpack, turn to 19. I'll do that, although I'm not sure that's a good idea. Sometimes when you pick things up, it actually causes bad things later, but I'll do that. Choose at random a tapestry with a pattern of a burning phoenix rising from the ashes. You quickly place it in your backpack and hurry down the corridor. Turn to 263. 263. Yes. Oh. And I see that I have put the arrows in the wrong place here, so that's, oops. Okay, so. The corridor runs straight, and you follow it until you reach a magnificent chair set against the left-hand wall, carved in the shape of a sphinx. If you wish to rest in the chair, I do actually. A bit risky, but might be worth it. The chair has many mysterious powers, and few dare sit on it. Test your luck. Yeah, I'm lucky. Luck 10. Turn to 286. The chair starts to vibrate slightly and you get ready to jump off it, but you feel a tingling sensation run through your body, which is very soothing. After 5 minutes of this gentle vibration, you reluctantly leave the chair. The invigorating effect adds 4 to your stamina, so now it's back to 16. With bounding strides, you set off once more. Turn to 202. As you walk along, you suddenly notice the pungent smell of herbs in the air. It grows stronger as you approach the end of the corridor, where there is a crescent-shaped pool. There is a brass plaque attached to the wall with strange symbols etched on it, which read, yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that. Will you cast a read symbol spell? No. Drink some of the herbal liquid? No. It says do not drink the liquid. Or bathe your wounds in the herbal liquid. Yes. I'm going to do that. So bathe my wounds, 269. As the liquid washes over your wounds, they heal before your eyes, but although the magical healing properties of the herbal liquid are strong, its recuperative powers are quite weak. Thus, your stamina is increased by only 4 points, which means it's back to 20, which is pretty good. Nevertheless, you are pleased to be healed and walk back down the corridor feeling confident. Turn to 364. And this is where I'll get back to the... Passing by the Sphinx chair and the tapestries, you walk straight on past the junction in the corridor to look at the murals. Turn to 161. The mural stretches along the wall for approximately 20 meters and depicts a great battle. A mass of undead, whipped on by vile orcs, are pushing back an army of men and dwarves. The leader of the undead is hidden by dark robes, apart from his fleshless reptilian skull. His cold, evil green eyes stare threateningly from the mural. He appears to be holding a casket which is drawing in the spirit of the king of the men and dwarves for whom the battle seems lost. You are fascinated by the painted detail of the casket and marvel at its magnificence. Do you like my work? Comes a sudden question from behind you. You spin around and see a man standing calmly with paint pots in his hand and a brush behind his ear. He is smiling and seems pleased that you are showing interest in his work. Will you attack him, reply to his question, or push past him and walk on? Well, I don't know what is the best thing to do right here, but if you say that you, I don't know, like the work, then of course he gives you some information that is essential, really. I'm just going to talk to him and reply to his question because I think that is supposed to be the right thing to do. If you wish to reply that you do like the artist's work, turn to 181. If you wish to reply that you do not like it at all, turn to 105. I'm going to say I like it. I'm just going to have a quick peek and see what happens if you say you don't. Yeah, nothing very exciting by the looks of it. Anyway, so I'm going to keep saying I like it, and that looks like the only really correct thing to do here. So the artist laughs and says, I never expected a compliment in this place of evil. No doubt you have been lured here with a promise of great wealth by the high priestess Alicia. I have staked my life on my reputation. Perhaps you have not heard that Alicia is a great lover of art, despite her cruel and terrible ways. Each year she secretly invites artists to perform their works inside the lost city. Down the corridor you will see tapestries, and elsewhere there are wood carvings and etchings. She alone judges the works, and the result is final, very final. The winner receives 300 gold pieces, and the losers are sacrificed to another dark one. That doesn't sound like a very good deal, does it? I mean, 300 gold pieces, but you're risking your life. Yeah. Needless to say, I think I'm going to win. She gives us all a ring of protection to wear so that we come to no harm while we work. My name is Murkegg, and I'm pleased to meet you. You ask him if he has heard of a man called Mulbordus, but he shakes his head. You stress that it is very important that you find Mulbordus and ask if he has any knowledge of the tunnels and passageways. Murkegg rubs his chin and replies, I'm afraid I cannot help you much, as I spend most of my time painting. I do know that Leisha's inner temple can only be reached by walking through the curtain of golden rain. Perhaps whoever it is you are looking for is being entertained by Leisha. All I can do is wish you luck. So, curtain of golden rain. So that's my so that's a hint there. I suppose I should write that down. Curtain, golden rain. So 376. The corridor bends to the right, and you follow it round until you arrive outside a closed door. You can hear agonized cries and a sadistic chuckle coming from inside the room. If you wish to turn the handle and push the door open, turn to 206. If you would rather ignore the cries and keep on walking, turn to 66. I'm going to go inside there. There was a hint in there. I can't remember what that is now. So I'm going to just help this guy out now. 206. The door opens into a room which is filled with all kinds of implements of torture. The screaming is coming from a man who is hanging from the ceiling by his wrists. And the laughter is coming from his torturer, a hooded, bare-chested man who is holding a smoking branding iron. If you wish to help the unfortunate captive, turn to 328. The man hears you close the door and advances towards you to attack you with his branding iron. So this is Torturer, skill 8, stamina 8. So we are at 13, let's see, so 8, and we are at 13, 20 now. So we got a 5 skill point advantage. He rolls a 5, I rolled a 4. It's down to 6, 7, 5. He's down to 4, 4, 6. He's down to 2. And finally, perhaps he rolls a 7 and I roll a 3. And that is enough to kill him. So if you win, turn to 141. You take a bunch of brass keys from the torturer's belt and find the one to unlock the victim's manacles. At first he is scared of you, believing it is a trick, but gradually you can convince him that you mean him no harm. You learn that his name is Thita, that he was a servant of the high priestess Lisha and was caught trying to escape from Vatos. He asks you why you are wandering about in the dungeon of Vatos, and you tell him about Mulbordus, the quest, and the messenger of death. His eyes widen and he says, I saw a cloaked figure suddenly materialize before my very eyes in the treasure room where I was hiding before being captured. I only saw its face for a moment and it was hideous. It put something inside a golden casket and then disappeared again. So perhaps then there is a letter in the golden casket. Thita declines the offer to accompany you on your commission, saying that he must try to escape again. You wish him luck and say goodbye. You leave the room together, but go your separate ways along the corridor. Turn to 66. You soon arrive outside another door. No noise comes from the other side, but when you try the handle, you find that the door is firmly locked. Will you cast an open door spell? I don't have that. Try to unlock it with a golden key. I do have that, so I'm going to... I don't actually need to go in there because there is a thing there that gives you skill +2 and luck +2, but that is not, that's just replenishing you if you've lost any. I do need a point of luck though. Okay, so I'll just go in there anyway then. So I'm going to use the golden key. The key fits the lock and it clicks open with one turn. Holding on to the hilt of your sword, you open the door. Turn to 98. You enter a marble-floored room which is bare except for the bronze head of a beautiful woman mounted on the opposite wall. You are surprised when its lips suddenly start to move and you hear her speak. Welcome to the room of questions, says the soothing voice. It has been an age since I last spoke to anyone. You are obliged to answer my question or die. Answer it correctly and you will be rewarded. Answer it incorrectly and you will suffer. Now tell me, how many gold pieces does Lisha give to the winner of the art competition? If you know how many gold pieces make up the prize, turn to that number. That's 300. Well done, continues the talking head. You have answered correctly. Red smoke starts to pour from its mouth and swirl around your face. When it finally drifts away, the bronze head is still and silent. You are left feeling powerful as though destiny is with you. At 2 skill points and 2 luck points. So, that means my luck is now back to 11. And we turn to 17. It seems to be going rather well. It must be a bad omen. The corridor ends at a doorway which is made of iron. You turn the handle and enter an empty room which has 2 doors leading from it. One to your left and one to your right. So left 298. Okay, so what did I find in to the left here? I didn't find anything yet that seemed to be useful, although there was a battle there that so, and there was some as a trap. I'm going to turn right this time because that does seem safer. So the door opens into a storeroom which is filled with vases, urns, rugs, boxes, cushions, and chests. As you walk in, the door slams shut behind you, and a sinewy horned beast with red skin suddenly climbs out of one of the urns and starts to spit fire at you. The fiend is guardian of the storeroom, and you must fight it. Right, so a fiend, which has 6, 8. So I've got a 7-point skill advantage. He rolls 11, I roll 6. He's got down to 6. In addition to its attack with claws and teeth, roll 1 die every attack round for its fiery breath. Okay, so it can still injure me. So if I roll a 1 or 2, it burns you for 1 point of damage. Okay. Yeah, so I'll get 1 point of damage. Next round, he rolls 9, I roll 8, and then his breath. Nope, so he's down to 4. He rolls 6, I roll 8, he's down to 2. His breath, nope. And finally, perhaps he rolls 2 and I roll an 11, and the breath does 1 more damage. So I'm down to 18 stamina. Okay. And I'll eat a provision, I suppose. There's a storeroom. I'll have a look there first. Okay, 2, 3, 3. So So 8, 8, and special rules, and then it's 2, 3, 3. There is no other way out of the room except by the way you entered. If you wish to search through the... Okay, so that means that I have to go past this bit. If you wish to search through the storeroom, turn to 64. Search. I'm going to have a look and see. In one of the boxes, you find a gold medallion and chain which has a heart engraved on it. If you wish to put the medallion around your neck, turn to 163. Okay. 163, medallion. Now, a gold medallion with a heart, that sounds very nice, doesn't it? Wouldn't that be a typical thing to be a cursed item? I'm going to put it around my neck and see what happens. Nothing eventful happens when you place a medallion around your neck, but unknown to you, the medallion was made to be worn around the necks of sacrificial victims and lose 1 luck point. Down to 10. Okay, so luck -1. Finding nothing else of interest, you walk back into the... okay, so there's no point searching it, which means there's no point going in there at all, actually. So, oh, I'm putting the thing in the wrong place now. That is the one that's meant to be. This is the correct path, is this way. 298. The door opens into a room which is completely empty. There is a mosaic floor which has an abstract pattern, except for the area in front of the door in the opposite wall, where there is the head of Medusa. On the door there is a small box with a slot on its top. You walk up to the door, turn the handle, and find that it is unlocked. You wish to put a gold piece into the box before stepping through. Turn to 214. Well, I will do that, see what happens. So 214. Oh, yes. Okay, so that was actually a trap. So, oh, clever. After placing the coin in the slot, a panel in the door flaps up, revealing, much to your horror, the letter T. So that is a T. And minus 4 stamina. 14. The messenger of death has struck a blow. Lose 4 stamina points for the shock to your system. You curse the evil game and walk through the doorway. Turn to 268. So that was okay. I didn't even lose a gold piece as well. That's the worst of it. I think it's time to eat something now. So I'm going to have 2 rations. So I'm up to 22 stamina. I think I'll need that soon. Okay, so 268. Although light shines through the open door, you can see nothing beyond the doorway. If you can and wish to cast a light spell, turn to 383. If you wish to step slowly into total darkness, turn to 326. No options, but I should probably have a light spell for future reference, I think. So 326. Your hands touch rough stone on either side of you, and you realize that you are in a corridor. Your heart thumps as you make your way slowly down the corridor, but what you are unable to see is a sharp blade which is set between the walls less than a meter from the ground. It cuts painfully into your shin, and as you feel the blood start to run down your leg, you start to panic. There's 2 stamina points and 1 skill point. 10, 12. No, not skill point. Luck point. Sorry, I thought I was a skill point there. Luck point. Yes. Eager to escape from the black corridor, you run along it, bumping into a door at the far end. Turn to 79. The door opens into a candlelit chamber which has a strong, musty smell. The floor is covered with debris, scraps of rotting food, matted hair, ash, teeth, and animal droppings. When the door behind you closes, the door in front of you flies open, and a deformed, one-eyed mutant lumbers into the room, brandishing a silver rod. A bolt of white light shoots out from the rod and burns a black patch on the floor by your feet. The sun is set outside, and the night horror is stalking the corridors of Vatos in search of prey. If you wish to use your sword against this loathsome creature, turn to 85. If you would rather search through your backpack for some other weapon, turn to 309. That's what I usually would do, isn't it? So that is backpack 309. But of course, and this time you actually are. It's time critical as well. As you sling your backpack off your shoulders, another bolt of light shoots out from the rod. Test your luck. My luck is 9. I rolled a 7. So my luck is now 8. If you're lucky, turn to 145. The bolt of light flies past your head and scorches the wall behind you. What item will you pull from your backpack? And I'm going to pull the bell. That does work. Just out of curiosity, I'm just going to see if any of the other things have any effect at all, because I'm not going to use those now. No, and no. Okay, that's what I thought. So the bell is the only correct choice, which is the one I made last time as well. So, which means that let's do like so, because I was quite sure before. I decided that was what I was going to do every time. So 198. Usually in these situations, there's only one item that really works. So you ring the bell and watch with pleasure as the night horror drops its rod and tries to cover its ears with its deformed hands. It screams in silent agony and then collapses onto the floor. But your delight is short-lived, because you hear a grating sound above you. The silver rod out of the hands of its owner has magically triggered a mechanism in the stone ceiling, which is starting to lower on top of you. You run to open one of the doors, but both are firmly locked and cannot be opened, even by Yaztromo's spell. Will you pick up the silver rod, try a crystal key if you have one, or try to burn a hole in the door? Now, I know the crystal key works, but you have to test your luck again. So this is another place where obviously I would have to create a save game point, because I'd have to find out what happens. But I'm thinking it was the rod that started it, because the thing is, you can't presume at this point that you would have bought the crystal key. It seems quite unlikely. So I'm thinking there must be something else you can do first, and then you can. So the rod started. I'm going to pick up the rod as my first choice now. Burning a hole in the door doesn't sound like a good option. Actually, let's check and see if that works at all. But I'm going to pick up the rod now. And yes. So 290. You seize the silver rod, and to your immense relief, the ceiling stops its descent. You wonder how to open the door opposite the one through which you entered. So, if you have a crystal key or are able to cast an open door spell, turn to 178. If you do not possess a crystal key and are unable to cast the spell, turn to 366. 366. So key or open door or not. Okay, so I'm going to use the crystal key now, which I bought from the vendor. Using a chosen method to unlock the door, if you use the spell, deduct 2 stamina points. You step through the doorway into another room. It's a bit strange how you didn't use 2 paragraphs for this now, but you step through the door, you toss the silver rod back through the doorway and hear the grating noise of the ceiling beginning to lower again. Knowing that you are safe from it, why would you throw back that? That's a weapon. Come on. Knowing that you are safe from attack from behind, you look around the room. You now find yourself in turn to 2. Well, there's no way back now, is there? So, 2. Okay. The room is small and sparsely furnished, with just a table and chair. A chisel and mallet are lying on the chair, and the floor is covered with wood shavings. Another artist, I guess. On the wall to your left is a large wooden carving, 2 meters by 3 meters in size. It depicts a scene of the lost city being attacked by giant sandworms. If you wish to take a closer look at the wood carving, turn to 302. If you would rather walk through the door in the wall opposite, turn to 93. Okay, so we have 2 options. 93, door, or 302. Look, I'm going to have a little look at the wood carving now. The carving is very intricate and must have taken months to complete. You look at the buildings and suddenly notice that there is a hairline crack running at roof level. You find that one of the roofs lifts up and the inside of the building has been hollowed out. Your luck is in, for inside the building is a small dragon carved out of ebony. Add 1 luck point. See, that's how you're supposed to get luck points, when you find a dragon. So we've got dragon number 3, Ebony Dragon. Ebony Dragon. Okay. You smile to yourself and slip it into your pocket before opening the door in the wall opposite. Turn to 93. The door opens into a large hall, which is lined with armor and weapons. At the far end of the hall, there is an altar on a raised plinth, where 3 men with sallow skin are ceremoniously clothing themselves in dark brown robes. One of them sees you and advances toward and signals to the others. They each pick up a sickle and advance towards you. They are dark disciples. If you wish to tell them that you have come with a gift for Lisha, the high priestess of Vatos, turn to 11. If you would rather fight them, turn to 188. Okay. So. So gift or fight. I'm going to say I've come with a gift just to see if there's what the options are. If you are wearing a gold medallion with a heart engraved on it, turn to 258. Okay. 258, medallion. If you're not wearing the medallion, test your luck. So, because I'm wearing a medallion, they think I'm a sacrifice, don't they? So 284, lucky, or 71, lucky. The dark disciple nearest to you spots your medallion and says, "Step forward. It is an honor for you to be sacrificed. The gift of your life will certainly please Alicia." The three of them raise their arms and start to chant, and you feel compelled to walk up to the altar and lie down on the marble slab. Oh dear. If you cannot wish to cast a creature sleep spell, turn to 195. Otherwise, turn to 392. So... okay, 195 creature sleep or not. So this doesn't look good at all, does it? 392. Okay, so this sounds like it could be the end. Not wishing to be a sacrificial victim, you concentrate on trying to blot out the chanting voices from your mind. Roll 2 dice. So that is a skill test. So anything but 12. Yeah, okay. So test skill. Okay, so 174 success or 374 fail. So I managed to do that, and I go to 174. You begin shouting at the top of your voice to drown out the mesmeric chanting, and draw your sword to attack the dark disciples. So we are then going to 188, which then probably is the right thing unless you don't wear the medallion. So yeah. Did I put anything about the... where was the medallion now? Oh, there we are. Okay. Yeah, I just put red on that whole thing, didn't I? Okay, so 288 fight. Okay. No, not 288. 188 fight. The Dark Disciples let out a howl as they move forward to attack you. Fight them one at a time. So we have... I'm currently at 1320. Let's cross out these things. So this is 9, 5, 8, 6, 9, 5, and I've got 1320. So first one, I got 4-point advantage. He rolls 11. I roll 4. I'm down to 18. He rolls a 5. He's down to 3. He rolls a 6. I roll a 6. He's down to 1. He rolls a 10. I roll a 4. I'm down to 16. He rolls a 7. I roll a 6. He is dead. Next one, I got 5-point advantage. He rolls a 9. I roll a 4. That's a draw. He rolls an 8. I roll a 6. 9 and 4. I'm down to 14. 7 and 8. He's down to 2. And finally, perhaps he rolls 11. And I roll 7. So that is, me hitting him. Final one, 4 skill point advantage. He rolls 8, 9, 6, 8, and finally 6 and 8. So he is also dead. Right. I go to 41. So, there is nothing of interest among the Dark Disciples' possessions apart from a long sacrificial dagger. So I've got a sacrificial dagger, which you place in your backpack. You see an archway in the wall behind the altar and decide to walk over to it. Go to 341. Okay, so 341. And that in sacrificial dagger. The archway has an elaborate surround of carved stone. You look through the archway into a corridor and see what looks like a shimmering gold curtain at the far end. Ah. Shimmering gold curtain. Is that what the guy meant when he said curtain of golden rain? Okay. Mounted along the walls are swords gripped by stone hands. Holding your sword tightly, you step warily along the corridor. As soon as you reach the first sword, its stone arm jerks into life and attacks you, while the other three cut through the air, awaiting their turn. Okay. So we've got... I should have eaten something. 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, 4. I've got 13, 14. Okay, so I've got a 7-point advantage. First one rolls 2. I roll 11, 5, 6. First one down. Next one 6, 7, 2, 10. Gone. Next one 3, 12, 4, 6. Gone. Next one 4, 4, 4, 6. Gone. Okay. And go to 191. Right, so I'm going to eat some food now. So I've got 14, so I want to eat 2 rations. I've got 1 left, and I'm up to 22 again. When you reach the end of the corridor, you realize that it was not a shimmering curtain that you saw, but a fine spray of golden rain which cascades from a series of holes in the ceiling into a shallow trough on the floor. The corridor turns left at the point where the golden rain falls and stretches to the left as far as you can see. If you wish to keep walking along the corridor, turn to 249. If you would rather step through the golden rain, turn to 354. I know Lisha is behind the golden rain, so... so there's 249. 249, or... step through 354. I'm going to step through. I think I'm supposed to. So through and corridor. Okay. Although the golden rain feels wet on your skin, you remain completely dry. You step into a luxurious chamber whose walls are decorated with frescoes and paintings. The floor is made of polished marble, and on it stand several low tables. Cushions are scattered around the shining floor. A huge bare-chested man with a bald head, clad in baggy silk pants, is standing with his feet apart at the far end of the room. His hands are resting on the hilt of a curved sword. On seeing you, he immediately strides forward to attack. He is a slave guard of the outer temple. Okay, so I've got 8. I'm 13, 22. There's a lot of fighting in this one. I mean, this is just what I've done now, but of course, what I would have done before the save game point that I started with today would have been quite a bit as well. So I've got a 5 skill point advantage. So 5, 8. So that's him down to 6, 11, 9. He's down to 4, 8, 10. He's down to 2, 7, 3. He's down. He's dead. Yes. Okay, so that is 8, 8, 354, 8, 8. And I see I forgot to write the stats of the. So this is. Okay, so it is. Yes, it's a 6, 4 times 4, and then it was. The cultist 9, 5, 8, 6, 9, 5, 8, 6, and 9, 5. Okay. Right. So I win and I go to 235. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong place. There, perhaps. 235. It is now far into the night, and the strenuous efforts of the day have left you feeling tired and thirsty. You find a bowl of water on one of the tables, which you empty down your throat in seconds. Too fatigued to go on, you lie down in the corner of the room on the soft, inviting cushions in order to rest. If you let yourself fall asleep, turn to 267. If you stay awake, turn to 131. So 267, sleep, 131, wake. I want to try to stay awake. You sit up at the start when you hear a deep humming coming from the corridor on the other side of the golden rain. There is a door behind the drapes, but it is locked and there is no time to open it. If you wish to hide behind the drapes, turn to 44. If you wish to confront whoever is coming into the chamber, turn to 227. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we are. So 44. Hide or 227. Confront. I'm going to try to hide. See if that works. Through the semi-transparent drapes, you can just see a white-robed man enter the chamber carrying a golden chalice. He is wearing a headdress, which is fastened by a gold clasp in the shape of a phoenix with its wings flat against his forehead. When the priest sees the slave guard, he drops to his knees and presses his ear against the dead man's chest. Then he looks up and, after quickly surveying the chamber, runs out again without noticing you. Wasting no time, you set about opening the door. Turn to 336. If you wish to cast an open door spell, turn to 369. If you wish to hack the lock open with your sword, turn to 68. So, again, open door spell, very useful, it sounds like, in this game. 369, open door, or 68. Sword. So I'm going to have to hack it open with my sword. You chop furiously at the lock until it finally gives way. The door opens into a corridor. I think I need to swap pages now. The door opens into a corridor which you walk down until you reach two doors at the end. One door has the symbol of the sun in relief on it, and the other door bears the symbol of the moon. There are also strange signs carved below, excuse me, both the sun and the moon. When you cast a read symbol spell, open the sun door or the moon door. So I'm going to read symbols, probably. 255. Read symbols. 243 or 273. So that is sun, moon, read symbols. 255. So stamina down by 1 point for using the spell. Okay. Okay, where was that? Yes. Unknown to you, the golden rain has drained away all your magical powers. Oh. Now you must decide which door to open. If you wish to open the sun door, turn to 243. Okay, so that is interesting. Now, let's go back to the previous one because to see if I can decipher something from this. Yeah, I'm going to go with opening the moon door at 273. The door opens into a narrow, sloping corridor which leads into another chamber. The walls are covered with hieroglyphics, and there are 3 clay pots standing on top of a stone table. Would you lift the lid of the white pot, the black pot, or the red pot, or walk through the chamber? So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 options there. And so that is so through 20. $183, red 156, black 114, white. With any indications in these symbols, it tells me which. Where is it now? 68. Just to see if there's any indication in the symbols, it tells me which pot to open. Didn't think there was. No, can't really tell. So white, black, red. I want to open one of them at least. I'll go with the black one, 156. Inside the pot, you see a shriveled paw about the size of a monkey's. So, paw. Well, you take the paw, lift the lid of the white pot, red pot, walk through, take the paw. I'm going to take the paw. As soon as you touch the monkey's paw, its fingers twitch, and with a will of its own, it tries to grasp your hand. Test your luck. So my luck is now at 9. I'm rolling an 11. So let's see, 317. Paw. Test luck. So that is 292. Lucky, or 222. Unlucky. The claws dig deep into your flesh and draw blood. The monkey's paw is cursed and will drain the spirit of all those except the undead. Lose 2 skill points. So -2 skill. So will you lift the lid of the white pot or the red pot? I'm going to lift the lid of the white pot now. Inside the pot, you find a copper ring which has a lightning bolt engraved on it. Will you place the ring on your finger? Oh, that's the wrong place. Down here. Okay, the ring on my finger. Or lift the black pot or the red pot, or go through. So again, like so. Might as well just go through all the options here. So I'm going to put the ring on my finger. Nothing happens. Well, maybe something will happen later. Yeah, so that leaves the red pot. So, okay. So 183. The pot is empty, but fortune is not with you. The underside of the pot lid has the letter E written on it. So, E. Okay, so it's only the white pot that has something that looks like it might be advantageous. So lose 4 stamina points. Let's see, my stamina was okay, it's 21 minus 4, so that's 17. And lose 1 luck point. Actually, I should have lost another one for testing my luck there. I forgot. So that is stamina minus 4 and luck minus 1. So that seems to be possibly the only. Maybe the ring as well is cursed. We don't know yet. You throw the lid on the floor, but it is too late. Will you? Okay, so I'm going to walk through the chamber now and keep going. Beyond the archway, the corridor is well lit and in good order. There is no sand or dirt on the floor, and the statues and carvings on the walls show no signs of deterioration. The corridor soon ends at a door which you discover is open. You enter an empty room with one other door in the far wall and a trapdoor in the floor. If you wish to open the door, turn to 307. If you wish to open the trapdoor, turn to 397. So 307, 397. I'm going to check out the trapdoor. Stairs lead down from the trapdoor into the gloom below. There is a strong musty smell rising out of the gloom, and the draught is cool on your face. You walk down the rough staircase until you can see no further. Will you cast a light spell, walk further down, or climb back up? So we have that option plus these 2. So we have a light spell, 224 light. Should be able to use a fire spell to create light. I mean, come on. And also there are torches everywhere. I'll just grab a torch. Just grab a torch, damn it. It is not logical, Captain. Okay. So walk down. I'm going to walk down in the gloom, just in case it's anything which could be really bad, of course. You reach the bottom of the staircase and step warily along the floor with your arms stretched out in front of you. Suddenly you hear a plopping noise, which sounds like a dollop of mud dropping onto the floor. Test your luck. I am lucky. Just. So test luck. 57 lucky or 176 lucky. Another dollop lands just by your feet, and the vapor rising from it smells sharp and acidic. Deciding that it would be dangerous to linger any longer in the dark cellar, you climb back up the steps and open the other door. So, okay, 307. The door opens and you walk into a room filled with treasure. There are chalices, statuettes, chests filled with gems, caskets, and hundreds of fabulous artifacts. Will you help yourself to some of the gems? Take the golden skeleton statuette, open the golden casket, I'm not doing that, or leave the room by the door opposite. So we've got, space them out a little bit in case these are possible to do one at a time as well. So 3 door. 82 golden casket, of course that's the one that he told me about. 386 golden skeleton or 143 gems. I'm going to check out the golden skeleton, I think. So 386. The statuette is heavy in your hand and is worth an unbelievable fortune. If you succeed in your mission, you will have been more than amply rewarded. Add 1 luck point. So that was 7. You place a statuette in your backpack and decide what to do next. Will you help yourself to some of the gems, open the golden casket, or leave the room? Help your elf to some of the gems. There is actually a typo there. 386. Typo. This is actually the first fighting fantasy book where I've seen actual typos. I mean, things that are misspelled, which is interesting because, well, at least the first ones were proofread properly, but this one certainly hasn't been. So that's another sign that they're rushing things in the series, I think. Otherwise, this book itself seems well written, so there's no complaints about that. Anyway. Am I going to help myself to some gems? I don't know. This seems a bit pointless unless I find something else exciting there. I don't know. I can't be bothered. It's just, yeah, I'm just going to leave. The door opens into another corridor, which is well lit and appears to be in regular use. If you wish to go left, 320. If you wish to go right. Okay, so we have left and right. This feels like a really big dungeon, actually. Despite all the paragraphs needed to get you to the desert and to Vatos, there's so much going on here. So 320 left or 358 right. I'm going to go left. The corridor ends at a flight of steps. If you wish to climb up the steps, go to 271. If you would rather walk back and head the opposite way along the corridor, turn to 358. 271 steps. I'm going to go the other way, actually, 358. You come across a bowl on a marble column. The bowl is filled with grapes, which look fresh and juicy. If you wish to eat the grapes, turn to 112. If you'd rather continue without eating, turn to 237. 112, eat, or 237, walk. I'm going to eat some grapes. The grapes taste as good as they look. And they have also been grown for a special purpose. They contain magical healing powers. Add 4 stamina points, so 21. When you have eaten your fill, you walk on further down the corridor. Turn to 237. The corridor ends at an archway, which is covered by a black curtain. There is a skull carved out of the stone above the archway. Despite its ominous appearance, you throw back the curtain and step through the archway. An archway 3 times in one paragraph. Not the best way to... Oh, actually, there's more of it. You enter a small chamber which appears to be the annex of a larger chamber beyond the archway in the wall opposite. But your immediate concern is with the creatures who are standing guard on either side of the archway. So 5 times archway. They have human bodies and skeletal heads. Each wears a strange helmet in the shape of a sphinx. In a rasping voice, one of the skeleton men confronts you, saying, "Give good reason to intrude on the domain of Lisha or die." Both of them stride towards you with their spears pointed at you. Will you cast a creature sleep spell? Tell them that you have brought Lisha a giant sandworm's tooth. Maybe that's the gift I should say that I have. Attack them with your sword. So, indeed. Okay, so so that's 1, 2, and 3. So that's 371. Creature sleep. It's 294. Tooth. Or 211 attack. I'm going to say I'm bringing the tooth. The nearest skeleton man extends his free hand and tells you to give him the tooth. If you wish to give it to him, turn to 346. If you decide not to trust the skeleton men and would rather fight them, turn to 211. Okay. 346. I'm going to give him the tooth, see what happens. Might be a mistake. Oops. The skeleton man takes the tooth and suddenly hurls it to the floor, smashing it into tiny pieces. Okay, so the tooth is very important then. Their expressionless faces seem somehow relieved, and you wonder what mistake you have made. Maybe the tooth is the only thing you can use to kill these. I don't know. With their spears at the ready, they advance towards you. Okay, so I'm definitely going to have to do this one more time, I think. But I will get it right next time. So, 9, 6, 9, 8, and I've got my what's it now? 13, 21. Okay, so I've got a 4 skill point advantage. He rolls a 5, 8, it's down to 4, 8, 6, down to 2, 4, 3. First one is undead. Then before 2, 5, 4, 5, 10, 12, and 7, 8. He's also dead. And I go to 96. No, it doesn't. Just as you are about to walk through the archway into the chamber beyond, the skeleton men rise up from the floor. You can hardly believe your eyes as they advance slowly towards you. Transfixed with fear, you cannot stop them thrusting their spears into your chest. You drop to your knees and fall face forward onto the floor. Your adventure ends here. So that is interesting. So maybe you need the tooth just to get past this point, actually. Interesting. 9, 6, 9, 8. And that is the end of it for now. That was a really long journey. I mean, even with starting from a save game, this dungeon feels so vast. And although it is rather linear, it still feels quite sort of interesting. But of course, when I look at my map now, there are very few places I haven't been, even though I haven't been in here that many times. So I'm still interested to find out how this one ends. I think that next time I will have to play it to the end, and I probably will have to cheat a little bit as well if I need to, because this is so long that if I'm going to do all this over and over again, it's going to get tedious really quickly and a bit boring, and both at the same time, of course. Tedious, boring, sort of the same thing. So I'm definitely going to have to win next time, I think, regardless of what happens. But still a few things I haven't found. I know there are 5 dragons. I've found 3. I've found lots of traps, lots of little sort of places I know I'm not supposed to go. And yeah, lots of interesting things going on in this one. This is quite an adventure, I think. Lots of battles that are unavoidable. And of course, again, you really need a high skill for this one. Otherwise, there's no way you can do it. So I think having anything less than 11 is probably a bit, certainly less than, yeah. 9, can't do it, I think. 10, possible. 11, very doable. But you do find, of course, the extra items that do help you. So that's a good thing. But anyway, I'll see you next time when I play more Temple of Terror. I definitely need a break now, because this is such a vast dungeon. So, yeah. I think I'm getting really close. I think that is just before the end, actually, the bit that I am at now. So I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching, for being patiently following me all the way through on this journey. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time. So please like, share, comment, follow, join me on Patreon, all those things that people do on YouTube and beyond. And I will see you next time as I play Temple of Terror for the 7th time. Yes, 7. That's quite a high number actually for an adventure, and I'm still not bored with it, which is good. So yeah, I'll see you then. Bye bye.